Beauty pageants aren't usually known for being particularly progressive, so many people were surprised when the Miss Universe pageant announced last week that it would allow a transgendered woman to compete. Vancouver's Jenna Talakova was born male. Organizers of the Canadian semifinals rejected her, but the head of the pageant, one Donald Trump, overruled that decision. It's good news for Jenna. Is it a significant breakthrough for other transgendered people? Two guests join me with their views. Chase Joynt is a writer, filmmaker, and trans activist here in Toronto, and Nina Arsenault is a writer and performer, perhaps best known for her autobiographical shows The Silicone Diaries and I Was Barbie. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Nina, we'll start with you. As a trans woman, what was your reaction to this news that Trump and NBC gave the green light to having Jenna compete in this?
Oh, well, I think it's very exciting. Just the whole mix of pageantry and politics, and that beauty is such a important concept to women in our culture. We totally deny that it is important, although women are faced every day with the power of it and the importance of it. So it doesn't really strike me as surprising that it would be merged with politics and transsexual rights.
Do you see it as a victory?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think she's an incredible transsexual role model. I think she's bringing human rights issues to the forefront of people's consciousness.
Chase, your reaction to this, is this good news? Is it mixed news?
I think it's complicated news. I agree with Nina in that this type of visibility and attention to trans rights and issues is incredibly important. And the fact that it's been mainstaged in international media is really important because these issues need to be talked about in more nuanced and complicated ways. I came to understand the Miss Universe situation through the internet, and the first thing I saw was a Barbara Walters interview. And I find that to be an incredibly telling sort of litmus test of the larger sort of social inquiry. And the first three things that Barbara Walters asked Jenna was, what was your name before? What have hormones done to your body? And essentially, do your genitals match your gender? I think that those are not uncommon first questions because it is the language that a lot of cisgendered folks, and I'm using that term just as a way to talk about non-trans people, come into understanding sort of 101 type trans questions.
What about you, Nina? I mean, when those kind of questions are asked, I mean, this is really about whether in the court of public opinion, this is an issue that people are now comfortable in talking about and able to talk about it in an informed way.
I wish the discourse around transgendered people would move forward a bit. I saw the same questions being asked on Donahue in 1982. I've seen the same questions every time a transgendered person appears on anything for any reason. Those are pretty much the three questions that are always asked.
So is it
I think the general public knows these things about transsexuals, and I think that people in the media, reporters, people like Barbara Walters, need to know that the public knows these things already.
Interesting, Nina, that you said that beauty is an important construct in our society, even if we try and deny that. So what is the fact that, for lack of a better phrase, she's really good looking? What does that mean in terms of our larger conversation about this? Because people now are going to be able to approach this through the lens of a beauty contest. Does that help?
Well, I think that anything that brings transsexual rights into the consciousness of people absolutely helps, yeah. The fact that it happens to be a beauty contest, well, let's talk about equal rights. You know, it's not, you could ask, does she set an impossible standard for transsexual women to, you know, live up to? Well, let's talk about equal rights. So do all the other Miss Universe contestants. They do that to women who are born into conventionally female bodies.
Do you think that the fact that she's really good looking makes it easier for her to pass, if I can put it that way?
I think that society places a lot of importance on a woman's beauty and her sexual currency, and I think doubly so for transsexual women. I think the big double standard of human rights is that people will accept you as a transsexual if you are a beautiful transsexual, if you are a feminine-looking, passable woman, but if you are not passable or not beautiful, it's much more difficult, I think, for a lot of people to accept you and understand you as the gender that you really know that you are.
Chase?
The politics of passing is a really interesting point of interest in trans communities. The privilege of having bodies that have been modified and that appear to be socially legible as one gender or another has a lot to do with privilege, has a lot to do with access. And so to be privileging or asserting that one way of looking is better or more socially digestible than others. I think it's important to acknowledge that within that, there's a lot of factors at play.
So what's the best thing that could come out of a story like this?
Well, I could see the best thing coming out of it as her winning the Miss Universe pageant. Yeah, or getting some really incredible international endorsement deals that would continue. That she wouldn't be a flash in the pan. That this wouldn't be just a moment. For me, the best thing that could happen would be that she would be an incredible personality that would go on and do great things in culture and show her heart, her mind, and other aspects of herself than only the beauty.
And I think these conversations are imperative. It's an incredible opportunity that Nina and I are sitting here with you having these types of conversations. This is where that sort of movement and that sort of change happens. It's not just at the media frenzy Miss Universe level. It's integrated into local and regional and broader politics.
And for lack of a better phrase, I mean mainstream discussion.
Right.
Thank you both for coming in.